everyone. Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And so I thought this would kind of be a fun topic because I've still been kind of going watching some of these extreme cheapskates. There's not a ton of the videos out there, but there's enough that I got a few more fun ideas. And this one I'm approaching a little bit differently because some of the ideas weren't entirely silly, but I think there's better options. And some of them are just gross or just wrong. So I kind of wanted to do the silly versus the smart frugal hacks idea. The first one I hope doesn't ruffle any feathers because this is actually something people commonly have done. I tried it a couple of different ways and wasn't happy about it. And especially Patrick, he really didn't like it. And that was reusing coffee grounds to make more coffee. Now, I knew the first time I did it, it was going to make a really weak coffee, but I tried it anyway. So then, and this was years ago, I tried this. So then the second time, well, let me back up for a minute. If that's all you got, and those pennies and cents really matter, and you really got to have your coffee, you got to do what you got to do. But I think what I did was I saved the coffee grounds for a couple days and then tried doing that and seeing if maybe having 2 days worth of used coffee grounds would make a better coffee. So then the next time I decided, okay, let me leave in all the coffee grounds from the day before and then add half again as much of fresh coffee grounds. So, another 50% of coffee grounds, but those were fresh and still, I could live with that, but it still wasn't all that great. Now, if you don't mind that and it works out good for you, sure. Anything you can do. However, there are so many other ways you can recycle those coffee grounds and use them for other things. For me, the number one thing I do with the old coffee grounds is I throw them into my pots that have berries in them or around any of my berry plants, potatoes, usually berries because they're the ones that are closest to the deck. And I don't want to walk clear out to the potato patch or corn patch. But anything that likes a more acidic soil, lots of nitrogen and all that, you can do that. And also, here's the added benefit for some people, not us in Rain Country, that has a very, very high and tenacious slug population, but they can also help repel slugs and other pests from the garden. I think even cats don't really like the smell of coffee, and they might be less likely to use your garden as their litter box. I've tried this reboot test too. Since you put LOL, Violet, since you put LOL at the end, I'm guessing that means you had the same the same experience, like, not great. Hey, Alabama says, I put a little water in my coffee grounds, swish it around, and toss it in the yard in different places. It seems to be helping with the mold sting. Oh, good. That's good. Thanks for that on the moles. Anyway, so while I thought, I should look up and see if there's some other uses as well that I might not be considering. And sure enough, one of them would be like adding to your homemade soaps, and it would add some, I've used coffee grounds in homemade soaps before. So you can get that nice coffee scent as well as have that scrubbing powder. I'm always doing it. Scrubbing powder added to the soap, if you want something that's a little more exfoliating, or even just using the coffee grounds themselves kind of as an exfoliant, a facial scrub, or even a face mask, just kind of leaving them on there for a little bit, because you're going to wet them down a little bit if they're not already wet down. And what else was it? And I remember thinking that I had heard this one time that they can work good for cleaning pots and pans. And sure enough, I found that. Haven't tried it yet. Or for deodorizing, like you can put some, like you would with how Arm & Hammer, that was their big thing. You'd get a little box, open it up. They used to have it. I don't know if they still do it, where you open up the side and you stick it in your fridge to help deodorize the fridge. You can do the same idea with your expired coffee grounds. Oh, de-icing walkways. I thought this was excellent because a lot of times we don't we don't typically have very much for hard freezes and snow, but when it happens, it's like, man, the wood deck and steps can get really icy. I don't want to use salt. I had to one day because we didn't have any more de-icer, and you don't really want to do that on your wood deck, but I had to because I slipped and fell. And so I'm like, that's it. I'm not doing that again. And didn't even think about the coffee grounds. That would be perfect because it would, not only does it kind of help, add some traction, the coffee grounds, because of the color, will warm up those parts of the ice as well. So that, same idea like a de-icer works. And the coffee grounds, the worst they could do is add a little more stain to the deck. I was thinking, I'm doing that. So anyway, I love that idea. Okay, now this next one is also related to coffee. I get the point, but I wouldn't do it. So this guy was using an old sock. I believe it was clean. He washed it, but an old sock to make his coffee. So he was using the old sock in replace of filter, so he didn't have to buy filters. Okay, I appreciate the frugality. I mean, one could actually just use some recycled sheets and stuff. I guess that wouldn't be a whole lot different, and make your own coffee filters. But here's what we do. I guess it depends on how you like to make your coffee too. That could have a say in it, but we have an all stainless steel percolator, stainless steel basket, stainless steel stem, stainless steel pot. That's what our coffee always gets made in. Little more old fashioned. Yes, sometimes you still get grounds in the coffee, but whatever. I never have to buy filters. I never have to wash filters other than the basket. So to me personally, that's a better idea. Even if you just bought new fabric, like some linen or muslin or just, 100% cotton, you could just make your own coffee filters and then wash them instead of using an old sock. Let's see. Got on a plane one time. Guy in front of me took his shoes off. Stewardess gave me a coffee filter with coffee to put under his seat. It really helped. Oh, that's cool. Next one. This one's going to be short, and I hope nobody gets mad at me for this one. Reusing straws. Here's my answer. My answer is in the form of a question. Why do you need straws in the first place? You have a glass, you drink right from the glass. No straw needed. No straws to wash because they're really a pain in the rear end to try to clean out in the first place. Unless you have a lot of nice long pipe cleaners. Okay, my teeth hurt without a straw. Okay, that's understandable. My mom was a big straw person. She had piles of straws. So she always had to have her water in a big old cup. Before that was the thing everybody did, and then a straw, always. And I'm like, Mom, why do you need straws? Okay, so that's just me personally. No offense to people who prefer straws or maybe even have to use them. Sorry if I offended anyone, but I know Tammy's cool. Aren't you, Tammy? You will be cool with it. You'll be fine with it. I'm telling you. See, we wash and reuse fat straws for homemade milkshakes and smoothies. Okay. Well, at least they're the big ones. Probably easier to clean out, but I have no problem with people reusing straws. I just don't understand I never understood straws, even though that my mom that's all she ever used, it seemed. Stainless steel straws that the great grandkids use. Tammy says, doing fine here. Still use my straw no matter what you say. Good for you, Tammy. Let's move on from the straws. Apparently, I'm kind of flying solo on the straw thing. All right, let's see. Next one. Okay, there was this guy. Again, it's one of those things that I can understand and appreciate. But this guy covered everything in his house and in his car with plastic. We're talking door handles, steering wheel, carpets, furniture, everything covered with plastic. Now, his thought was when he goes to resell this stuff, it's all going to still be in pristine condition. Oh, and then anytime he or anyone walked in the house, they had to put on disposable booties, which of course costs money. So I appreciate the idea that the guy's constantly thinking of resale value, but I guess what I don't understand about that is how can you really enjoy your home and your car when everything's covered in plastic and you feel like you can't really even live in your house? So I do appreciate the idea, but that I think is a little bit too far. I mean, there's such practices like just simply taking off your shoes at the door that can really help with keeping the carpets and the floors clean. But sometimes you just got to live. And it's like well, it's like Jace a couple of weeks ago. And I do have a that particular love seat that's in here. I did put a slip cover on because it was an ugly love seat that we ended up with. And it's like, well, it's kind of nice having the added furniture. So I put, and thankfully it's a dark color, it's dark brown. I just got that. Hadn't even been on there but a couple weeks, and he decided to scribble on that. Thankfully, where he scribbled was where the little throw pillow, which he also scribbled on the backside of, covers up. So the backside of the throw pillow, and as I'm trying to get the stains off, I'm like, you know what? Memories. This is memories. Like when my youngest son used to chew on the back of the chair. Or no, he didn't chew on the back of the chair. That was somebody else's kid that came over and chewed on the back of one of our dining room chairs. But no, Justin, because he's so narrow in the hips, he always had to wear suspenders. I had to put suspenders all the time. Otherwise, his pants were always falling off. So he would sit at the table on his knees in the chair, and in the back of his suspenders would rub on the chairs. And I realized it too late. And so there's score marks on the back of the chair that he sat in. And at first I was like, oh man. And then I realized, you know what? Down the road, I don't care. A lot of them have been kind of worn off since, but also it's part of living, you know? It shows that you're actually real people and you had a family. And it's the same thing with the dining room table. I used to always keep a tablecloth on it because I didn't want it to get scratched up and ruined. And I've been doing this for years. We've had that same tables. We got that table, that dining set at the same time we got the living room set that I recently covered with slip covers. We've had those for, I would say 27, 28 years. And you know what? They still look really nice. The table is practically pristine, but it's a beautiful table. You never get to see the wood because I always have it covered up. And the other day I thought, I'm just going to put my placemats out. No more table covers on that, because why am I constantly covering this up? I'm afraid of getting scratches, but then you never can see the beautiful wood. I said, I'm going to enjoy it. So I did. And if it gets scratches and marks on it, that's part of living. Yeah, try to take care of your stuff. You want your things to last for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with wanting good resale value out of your items. But what's the point of having things if you can't also just enjoy them? The kids yesterday, I had Rowan and Jackson, and I had also not only put the covers on the couch, but I got new throw pillows and pillow covers, and they decided they wanted to pile those up and climb on them. And I was like, they're brand new. And I thought, you know what? How long would my grandkids be young? Let them have fun. Let them have fun. And I did. I can always take the covers off and wash them if I have to. So I think I said this last week, but I'm going to bring it up again. And it goes hand in hand with the family that was letting their kids play in the pool all day long and then washing their dishes in the pool water that night, you know, in the evening as a family all together. Well, this one guy was doing something similar with his bath water, and he was taking the bath water and washing his dishes in the bath water. Now, I am absolutely for finding ways to recycle your bath water. In fact, I tried an experiment today with, after when I showered, I always have this big pot we keep in there for if the power's out, we don't have, and we're really trying to conserve the hot water because we don't know when the power's going to come back on. And I'd heat water up on the wood stove, put it in that pot, add some cool water to it, and then just use a cup. And that was our shower. So always keep that in there. But today I decided, why am I not doing this? And so I decided to collect, like you first turn on the water, you're waiting for it to get hot, collect a lot of that water and whatever else may fall in there. And then tried flushing the toilet with it. There wasn't much water in there, surprisingly, because we're pretty conservative. We have the on-off switch on our shower head. And it did flush the toilet really good, but it wasn't enough to fill up the bowl. But it was an experiment. Next time, I'll probably just take that water and use it for watering my plants, my house plants, and whatever else. Not to say I can't use it for flushing a toilet. It's just you want to have enough water to go back in there too, to fill up the bowl. I think finding ways to reuse bath water and water from your wash machine and having it redirect, as long as you're using all natural ingredients, out into your gardens and all that. I mean, this is great. Great way. I think finding ways to conserve water and power. Yes, everybody needs to try to find ways to do that, especially with things that are going on. And we're going to see so much more price hikes going on, just like with the fuel. Already seeing that, and we're going to see a lot more because of that. So any ways we can find to save money, but there's also a certain point where I think we can just take it a step too far. I'm not going to wash my dishes in dirty bath water, body water. It's just yuck. The last one I have on here, it's not like it's a dumb idea. I find it silly because there's better ways to save money. This guy is buying cheap dollar store cola and cheap dollar store feminine napkins and using them to clean windows. Apparently it works really good. He pulls off the sticky back, sticks it to his hand, pours a little cola on there and cleans windows. And apparently it works really good. And that might be cheaper than using paper towels and a special window cleaner. Cheaper yet, an old t-shirt rag and some homemade vinegar. Works great. Some of these people, they really, really pride themselves on being these cheapskates, but they could save even more money and just go a more simple route. Take those old t-shirts that got holes in them, that have stains in them, cut them up. I love t-shirt rags. We use t-shirt rags all the time. Patrick usually has a ton of them in his shop, like the really ugly ones go in his shop. And he uses t-shirt rags for a lot of things. I use t-shirt rags for a lot of things in the house. That's why I have a video just on that. Now, there was some other ideas, though, that a lot of these people did that I thought were excellent. Some of them are things that we ourselves practice. The reason I want to bring these up, though, is the way they were talked about by like the narrator or even some of their friends was like, these are just crazy, crazy ideas. But that would be people who would go out and forage for greens and flowers to make salads with. Of course. I use dandelion leaves in my salads, and in fact, all the flowers I grow intentionally because they're either medicinal or just great for adding to salads. I love adding things like pansies and daylilies, borage flowers, because now you're getting the blue in there, and nasturtiums are great in salads. But it freaks people out when they see stuff like this in a salad. It's like, oh, you just went out in your yard and you picked a bunch of weeds? I guess it's healthy stuff right here. This has got far more nutrients in it than just some bag salad you're going to buy, or just buying a head of iceberg lettuce. I have nothing against iceberg lettuce. It's a great base for a salad, but iceberg lettuce doesn't have near the amount of nutrients as some of these other things we're talking about. And so it's like, man, people are so disconnected from their food that they just don't even understand that you can have some really great, healthy, nutrient-dense weeds growing in your garden that you can be adding to your stir fries, to your soups, and to your salads. And not only would it save you money, you'd be getting a lot more nutrients out of just some bagged cereal from the store. I started foraging salads last year, and friends and family think I'm off the wall. Isn't that just sad, though? It's really sad. I mean, first time I made a salad with my homegrown flowers that I grew intentionally for adding to salads and more. I took it to a family event, and like hardly anybody touched it. Like they were afraid of it. I'm like, it was so pretty too. And then there's the other thing, and this is another one that people were kind of like friends and family just didn't understand it, was people that would find trash and turn it into treasure. That's no different than what Deb and I were talking about last week. Finding people will leave stuff out alongside the road that they don't need anymore. They don't want to pay to haul it off, but also there's that, maybe they don't know anyone firsthand that could use it, but there's got to be someone who could use this little walker for their baby, or this couch, or this table. And people will throw things away too. You got dumpster divers. I'm not entirely against that. I'm not against that at all. I think people should have the freedom to do that. If it's going to go in the landfill anyway, why not allow people to take what they need? When Patrick was in the Army, when he was living in Germany, there was a dumpster out there where people were constantly just throwing out perfectly good furniture and stuff. This was before I met him. In fact, when I met him, he'd only been home from the military for maybe a few months, but he brought home some great pieces of furniture out of the dumpster that these other guys just threw out. One was I wouldn't say it's great. We still use it today. It's a little metal shelf that he used as his entertainment center. And that was our entertainment center for many years. Just a cheap little metal shelf that had been painted black. And the nightstands that we have, they're beautiful. He's also, from the dump, found lots of really great items that he paid nothing for, like a barbecuer, an all stainless steel barbecuer. When he brought it home, and the only thing wrong with it was the switch didn't work. He bought a new switch. It was a fraction of the cost of buying a brand new barbecuer just like that. And I don't think these are things that should be frowned upon. If you can find stuff that other people are getting rid of and put it to use, you're doing so many good things. One less thing to get hauled off, one less thing to end up in a landfill, one less thing to have to purchase, or maybe to give to someone who could use it. So love y'all, take care, and God bless.